Previously on Unscripted.
I mean, if you're telling me that you pick guys who also played on the Expos, I can guess who's on your list.
So it's one, but I mean, it's pretty obscure.
Damaso Garcia.
If you ever want to know how deep our friendship goes, I have two words for you. Damaso Garcia.
You're listening to Unscripted with Skip Sherman and Josh Obadia.
Okay, Skip, so today we're going to talk about Season 4 of The Bear. But before we do, I know there's something that you want to tell the listeners.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. So my Uncle Lenny passed away, and I know like it sounds very personal, and listeners might be like, "What? Why is he telling us this?" But like, people who have listened to us since the beginning, or even not since the beginning, you've heard me talk about my Uncle Lenny many times, right? He was our number one podcast fan. You know, he listened to every episode. Once I told him that I had a podcast, and he's like, "How do I listen to this?" And I showed him on his phone. He listened to every episode. And he would call me and tell me, "I listened to your podcast. What are you guys talking about? Josh is crazy. What is Josh talking about?" You know, and like, especially like, he loved when we talked about stuff that like shows that he watched, because he did watch a lot of Netflix and Crave and these kind of shows that we talk about often. So when it was a show that he's watched, he loved listening to our takes. And then when it was a show that he didn't watch, he was like, "Oh, I don't know about that. You know, like, I don't know. I never watched that." It's like, it couldn't be bothered with it. And the same thing with music, right? Obviously, you know, my uncle Josh, like, he was a huge music fan. Like, I inherited his vinyl collection right now, and there's hundreds of albums, but it's literally like all like 70s classic rock, like all of it, right? All of it. And so when we would talk about bands or music that like he didn't know about, he's like, especially you with like more of your alternative stuff, you'd be like, "What the hell is Josh talking about? I never heard of any of those bands. I don't even know what you guys are talking about."
Yeah, I remember,
you know?
He sent in that listener mail and he's like, "I never heard of any of those bands that Josh mentioned."
Yeah. But like, obviously we're going to miss him dearly. And, you know, like, all we have is all the great memories. So we're going to keep doing the podcast. And when we do come across stuff that I know he likes, I'll still give him a shout out, even though he's no longer with us. The one story, I do have an interesting story, because you learn a lot about people when you unfortunately have to clean out their home, their apartment, you know. So I cleaned out his apartment this past week. Obviously, you know that we don't talk about golf with, like, we're not allowed. We made a rule that we don't talk about golf. But like, Lenny was a huge golfer. Like, he loved golf. He was a great golfer also. I found golf balls in every room of his place. Everywhere. Just when you think there's no more golf balls, under the kitchen sink, behind like the liquid Drano and the garbage bags, golf balls. In his bathroom, in a cabinet, you know, behind all the extra shampoos and deodorants, golf balls. Like, everywhere, golf balls. So, yeah. Like, so I'm going to keep watching golf and think about him and keep listening to classic rock and remember all the stuff that he liked, and we'll go from there.
I have a Lenny story for you, actually.
Yeah, go for it.
So, you know, on this show, we always ask the listeners sometimes for advice or solutions to problems. And you may not recall, I had a big problem years ago, because anytime I would buy olive oil, it was impossible for me to use the olive oil without making a mess. Like, it always drips, and then wherever you put the bottle, there's like a puddle of olive oil underneath the bottle. It's impossible.
Yep.
And Lenny had the best solution. He's like, you need one of those, either, a used potato salad container or any kind of plastic container that you don't need anymore, that you've washed out, and you put the olive oil bottle in there so that if it drips into that container and it doesn't ruin your cabinet. I still use that trick now today.
His place was full of like little DIY kind of hacks, like all kinds of weird little things that you could see, like he used his own little knife and cut out something on a cardboard, or like there was all kinds of little weird little things that he did like this all over his place. Yeah, very interesting. All right, well, that's all I really wanted to say about my Uncle Lenny. I don't know, what were you going to open the show with if it was a normal opening?
Okay, Skip, so we haven't recorded in a while, and I know that you were away for a week. But a lot of stuff has happened since the last time we recorded an episode.
There's always stuff with you. There's always stuff happening.
This actually isn't just me. This is the whole world, or at least the whole country.
Okay.
Big news broke 2 weeks ago. And I understand if you may not have heard about it because you were away. And I know when people go on vacation, they're sort of out of touch with reality.
Can I guess what it is?
I think the fact that you want to guess, you must know what it is.
Nestea is back.
Nestea is back, baby. I've brought some props today for show and tell. As
You bought Nestea?
I've got the new Nestea and the old Nestea. The new can is a slightly darker blue than the old one.
Oh, wow. Very nice. Very nice.
So, of course, when I heard this news, I was very excited. I did some Googling and I found the press release, which I can send you later. I intentionally didn't send it to you because I wanted to tell you on this show. By the way, this coming Thursday, August 28th, there is a Nestea launch at the Eaton Centre, downtown Toronto. I will be there.
Of course you will. You're like their unofficial spokesman.
Exactly. It's actually not just one day, but I'm going on the first day. So
Where did you buy it? Where did you buy the Nestea?
I bought it at Loblaws. They have this huge display at the front of Loblaws, and it says, I don't even know the exact words, your favorite iced tea is back or something like that.
Okay. I saw that I saw an article that said it's coming back. Keurig Dr. Pepper is the Canadian kind of licensee or the new manufacturer of it. And I was actually wondering, like, it becomes like a war of buyers and salespeople now, right? Because Fuse is owned by Coke, and obviously the buying power, like the power that Coke wields over grocery stores is huge, right? Like Coke is a massive brand, and grocery store buyers have pressure to stock the Coke products. You know, they're like, well, if you want Coke, you got to take the Fuse too, and this stuff like this, right? So I was wondering, like, is every store going to have Nestea, or are we not going to find it in some places? Like, I mean, guess we'll find out, right? But the fact that you said you bought it at Loblaws, which is obviously the biggest Canadian grocery chain, obviously Nestea should be readily available, right?
It should be, but even more interesting than that, because, you know, Loblaws does carry Coke products and Pepsi products, you know, so they're competitors. Yeah. But when you go to a restaurant or a sporting event, for example, that building, whether it's a stadium for a sporting event or a restaurant, they will only carry either Pepsi or Coke products, not both. Yeah. And this is neither. So I don't know what's going to happen with this.
Well, no, I don't think you're going to see Nestea at, like, I don't think you're going to see it at sporting events, or I don't think you're going to see it at, like, fast foods. It's not going to be at McDonald's or Wendy's or any of these. It's not going to be at any of these fast foods, I don't think. You know, because if they're licensed with Coke, they're licensed with Coke. There's no way that Nestea's coming in, right? So that's where you're not going to find it, right?
Now, I'm comparing the label on the new Nestea to the label on the old Nestea. So I just want to read you a couple of things. The new one says that it's imported by Canada Dry Mott's Incorporated. I don't even know what that means, but interesting.
Okay. Yeah.
And the only difference in the ingredients is, on the old one, it says concentrated tea from tea leaves. Mm-hmm. And on the new one, it just says tea in the ingredients. Now, I don't know what that means, but I just thought I'd point that out.
It might not mean anything. I think I read an article. I read an article about how these manufacturers manipulate what's written on the ingredients in terms of what they're allowed and what they're not allowed to write and stuff. So, anyways.
So, I do have a bunch of other things that happened, but I'll save those for later because we got to get on with the show, and we'll be right back to talk about season 4 of The Bear.
You're listening to Unscripted.
I'm Joseph DeMedictis.
And I'm Ross Citrullo.
And we're doing this podcast so we don't have to go home and get a real job.
Exactly.
That's right. And we're doing it to tell you about our pursuit of the dreams we've had since being a kid, being young, trying to get into the entertainment industry. Us, we're mid-career, sort of. We're kind of halfway broken in a way, but we both have these big dreams and big goals.
Aspirations, really.
For our careers.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. This podcast is about the journey through the industry, trying to make it, but trying not to have to give up.
So listen to our podcasts on all the places you might listen to a podcast: Apple Podcasts, Spotify,
We have our own YouTube channel where you can watch the video version. All the links can be found at you'llnevermakeit.ca. Here's hoping we do.
And now, back to Unscripted.
All right, we're here to talk about one of our favorite shows of the last few years. I think it was mine, and I think for you as well, which is The Bear, season 4. It came out a couple months ago. I watched it immediately. It's an easy watch because a lot of the episodes are quite short. There's one that's longer, but most of the episodes are not that long. You can watch it pretty quickly. So we watched this within a week. It was done. And then I kind of waited for you to catch up, and then eventually you did. So here we are. So just to remind everybody, spoilers ahead. Everything we're about to say is going to ruin season 4 of The Bear for you because we're going to talk about every single thing that happened. I really enjoyed the season. I read articles that said that season 4 was a disappointment and people didn't like it and critics didn't love it. And I was a bit dumbfounded by those reviews because I liked the season much better than last season. I liked it a lot better than season 3. I thought it was, well, maybe it's my personal taste. I found it more uplifting. It's less chaotic and more heartwarming, which is what I like, right? So I really liked The Bear season 4.
So I'm glad you said that. I read online someone described The Bear, not season 4, but the show in general. Someone described it in one sentence, and the description was, "The Bear is known for its blend of kitchen chaos and deep-seated family trauma," which is a great way to describe the show, actually. Having said that, this past season might have been my favorite of all 4 because there was less chaos. And it seemed
the family drama was more of healing, coming together, everyone kind of and then in the kitchen, people finding their place. It was their natural, for each character, what's their natural next step in making their lives better, it's kind of thing. I really liked it.
Yeah, I really liked it. There are a few storylines that I liked. My notes are all over the place. Are we just going to get into different things now?
I think you should start with your notes because my notes, I actually was smart this time. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I actually took notes as I watched the show. So my notes are per episode. Everything I have is by episode. But it's not that long ago that I watched it. I can recall everything that happened in the show pretty much. So let's go. Let's jump right in.
So I've done that in the past where I've taken notes each episode, but I did not do that this time. So I'm going on memory.
Yeah. So let me just start and then you can jump in. The show, the thing that annoys me though about the show is the producers, they tried to be too artsy or avant-garde, or I don't know the right word to say, but season 3 ended with a kind of little cliffhanger, a couple, right? Carmi looks at his phone and he sees the review is in, right? The review is in. And then we don't know what the review is. Is it positive? Is it negative? And then we also find out that his uncle doesn't want to fund the restaurant anymore. And we also find out that Sydney might be leaving. These are all little cliffhangers right at the very end of season 3. And then, of course, because the show tries to be fancy, they start off the beginning of episode 1 of season 4 by not telling us what happened, not addressing any of these things, and jumping right into either, I don't remember, was it a flashback or was it a dream? I think it was a flashback.
It's been a while, I don't remember, but you're right. I do remember not getting an answer to any of my questions.
Yeah. It starts off with a conversation between Carmi and his brother who's long dead now, a few years. So I'm oh, this show infuriates me in that way because you remember how at the beginning of season 3, it was so confusing. We didn't even know what was going on in the first episode. What are they showing us?
The first
here?
episode of season 3 should have been the second episode of season 3.
Yeah. So at least the flashback with the conversation with him and his brother didn't last that long, and then eventually we start to get information, right? The review and the review isn't that positive, and then the story starts to advance. So we're starting to get answers, and we don't get answers to any of those questions that I just said until sort of the end of right at the very, very end of the season. So I'll throw it to you now.
Okay, well, one of my favorite characters who's hardly in any episodes is the computer.
I love the computer.
when the computer brings the clock into the restaurant with the countdown, which is basically they have to stare at this every second of every day, telling them, okay, this is your deadline, and if you don't meet it, you're toast.
And then, it's another great scene. And it's so funny because right away, the first thing we're talking about is really minor stuff. We're not talking about Carmi or Sydney or Richie, or Sugar, like all the main characters. We're going right to the computer. There's a great scene because Rob Reiner is in this season. And
yes.
And it's interesting because when he first appeared, he's very, very skinny. He doesn't look like the Rob Reiner that I remember. So I heard his voice and I'm like, that's Rob Reiner. And then it took me a few minutes to really is it really him? Anyways, so Rob Reiner plays the business advisor to, I forget the name of the character, the guy who runs the beef stand, right?
Yes.
And when Rob Reiner's character meets the computer, it's a very, very They meet each other and they shake hands. He's like, "Who are you?" And he introduces himself. The computer. Oh, okay, the computer. And they have a mutual respect for each other based on a very, very brief conversation. And just the fact that Rob Reiner's character says there's so much potential for the beef stand. We're going to expand it and all this. And because the computer's all about numbers, right? He's all about crunching the data and how to make that stuff more profitable. So I thought that meeting of the minds was really, really funny. It was good.
I agree. And I still, at the beginning, I couldn't tell if Rob Reiner was trying to scam them or was he giving them legitimate, good advice.
I'm still not 100% sure that he's not scamming him. I'm not 100% sure.
Right.
I'm 99, 95% sure because it seems okay. But yeah, I wasn't sure at all, actually. What his motivation is,
Right.
So, yeah.
In any case, so that's the computer. So there's some storylines. There's one storyline in particular that I really liked. And again, it's not the main characters, I guess you would say, but it's the Richie and Jessica storyline.
It's great.
So I kept waiting for them to hook up. There
Me
were a few
too.
times where I thought it was going to happen, and I'm surprised it didn't happen.
Because at the end of season 3, they hinted that she was interested in him romantically.
Yes.
And then he brings her in. When they brought her character in, first of all, the actress's name is Sarah Ramos.
Yes. She's from Parenthood.
She's actually on Chicago Med right now, which is a show that I watch. I'm a sucker for all those Chicago shows. So I really love her character on Chicago Med. I think she's amazing. So then when she's had a bigger part in The Bear here, I was excited. And she's there and she's they bring her in and she's all of a sudden she's running the restaurant efficiently. She's exactly what they needed,
Yeah.
But I too was waiting for more of a romantic story with Richie, but I guess the Richie story this season was not about that. I think they just wanted to focus more about how he was moving on after his ex gets remarried, and it's the focus of Richie's development was more about his daughter. I think that's what they wanted to show. So but I was waiting for that too. Yeah. So
would you like me to go on? Because I have a few.
Yeah.
Or do you want?
You keep going. Keep going.
So next thing, this annoyed me a little bit. They kept showing Tina trying to make the pasta in less than 3 minutes. Now I realize they keep saying on the show every second counts, but it's a little bit ridiculous. If it's 3 minutes and 10 seconds or 3 minutes and 15 seconds, if you can't do it in less than 3 minutes, you can't do it in less than 3 minutes.
Tina, they didn't really do anything with Tina this season other than making the pasta. That was it, right? It was kind of a waste, but yeah.
Okay, so I don't remember what episode any of these things happened in, but when Sid gets the call that her dad is in the hospital, I saw that coming from a mile away. I don't know if you did.
I did too, yeah.
Right, because there was a lot of scenes with her dad in the previous episodes leading up to that, and then when you see her reaction on the phone, even though you don't hear what's going on the other end, you knew what it was. You knew what it was.
Well, I thought maybe he died. I didn't think he, I thought maybe it was worse, right? So, yeah.
So there's that. Now, of course, I did like, and I still like, that Carmi and Claire are finally speaking to each other again.
Carmi and Claire was one of some of the best moments of the season.
For sure.
They have a brief phone conversation, which is really good, and the scene with them on the front step of her apartment.
That was like the scene of the whole season.
It was up until the last episode, like, because I think the scene of the whole season really is the Carmi, Sydney, Richie, and then eventually Sugar in the back alley behind the restaurant. I mean, that's really intense. We can get to that for sure. But yeah, up to the last episode, the scene of the season, and you could argue it is still the scene of the season, is Claire and Carmi on the front step. It's rare to have any TV show or movie depict such a real conversation about like their relationship and where it was, where it's going, where it is, like their true feelings. Like it was really real, almost too real.
When he left, when she goes back inside and he leaves,
Yeah,
I thought they're never talking to each other again because she wants nothing to do with him.
I thought that too, but the heart wants what the heart wants. Eventually, like, she could forgive him.
and then you see them together. Like they didn't show up together, but they were together at the wedding, which that episode, the wedding, we could do a whole episode just on that episode.
I mean, I like the wedding. I thought it was, I mean, it's similar to the previous seasons in that most of the episodes are like 30 to 40 minutes. And then all of a sudden you get episode 7, the wedding, and it's like an hour and something, right?
Right.
Same thing with the other seasons where we had the Christmas episode with the fishes, it's called. At least this wasn't one continuous shot, but like, I really liked the wedding. I thought it was really good. I mean, we finally got the reveal because they referred to this character, Francie Fack, who we've never heard of. Really, they only mentioned her in passing, but apparently her and Sugar hate each other, and it's leading up to that. And then all of a sudden, it's Brie Larson. Like, where did that come from? Right? Like, I didn't expect to see her in the show. It was a little bit confusing, the wedding, because they were jumping from person to person. You didn't really necessarily know who's who. Sometimes they're out of their element, right? Because they're all dressed up. They're not in the kitchen, and they're not how you expect to see them.
But going back to Francie Fack, so I didn't even know who she was.
No, I didn't know who she was either. I had to look it up.
And I don't even know why they hate each other.
Apparently, there was one mention of Francie Fack in like season 1 or 2, and Sugar's like, I don't want to talk about it. And then they decided to bring her in as a character and try to create and try to develop like this little storyline, how they hate each other. We still don't know why they hate each other.
Okay, so I'm glad you said that because I thought maybe I missed something.
No. Apparently, it's some kind of tiny Easter egg that like they just brought back for season 4. Probably because Brie Larson called the producers and said, I want to be in the show. They're like, okay, you could be Francie Fack.
So I didn't know we were going to talk about episode 7, the wedding, right away.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Actually, by the way,
ahead.
episode 7, the official title is Bears. That's the title of the episode, not the wedding.
Oh, okay. I guess they're all.
But that's whatever. As you said, there's always one episode every season where like it's over an hour or something, and they always bring out all the stars. You mentioned Brie Larson. So Jamie Lee Curtis is in it. Josh Hartnett is in it. John Mulaney is in it. Bob Odenkirk is in it. It's like, that's the episode.
Yeah. Well, it's all the people who are like the distant relatives, people who are at the Christmas table, the same group, right? Josh Hartnett's character is really good, because Richie wants to hate him because he's marrying his ex-wife, and there's a really good scene between Richie and him, where they confess to each other. He's like, well, I could never be you. And then the other one's like, well, I could never be you. And then like, they both have the same fear, and then, there's that scene under the table with his daughter.
Yes.
The under the table scene bothered me a bit because how is it possible there's a table that high? Like it didn't make sense. Like, how is there a table? It was so tall, the table, that they could fit underneath it. It was a little bit too much.
I mean, it might have been one of those tall tables, the tall ones.
I guess. But, I mean, you had 17 people sitting under the table.
By the way, we have to talk, since you're talking about Richie and the new husband, whose name I don't know.
Frank.
So, Richie was upset, of course, that Frank bought something for his daughter that Richie couldn't afford to buy, I guess.
Yeah.
And so he tells this to Jessica, and Jessica's like, well, I think you should look at it the other way. You shouldn't be upset that he bought something. You should be happy because now your daughter has it and you didn't have to buy it.
Well, I know. I mean, she's trying to speak his language, but he doesn't see it that way, you know?
But I mean, it is an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah. But then Frank is basically like, kind of confesses to him, like, the only thing I have is to try and buy her love, right? That's the only thing I can do right now, right? Because she loves you, and the only thing I can do is try to buy her stuff. So I think that gives Richie some kind of peace in the whole situation, you know? Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of episode 7, the soundtrack for episode 7 is phenomenal.
Well, the soundtrack for the whole season.
Right. But let me just tell you a few songs from episode 7.
I wrote down all the songs in the season that I like.
Right. So in episode 7, Walls by Tom Petty, Suzanne by Weezer, Nothing But Love by James, Style by Taylor Swift, Sad Song by Lou Reed, Throw Your Arms Around Me by Pearl Jam, and Tougher Than the Rest by Bruce Springsteen. That's just one episode.
Yeah, but it wasn't Bruce Springsteen in the Tougher Than the Rest. It's actually a cover by Emmylou Harris. And that song played a very, very important. That was the one song that they played the longest, right? It was like it played a really important part of the episode. It was really, really great. Some other songs, since we're already talking about the songs, there's some great songs. Now, Led Zeppelin, That's the Way. I'm talking about in the whole season. These are the songs that I liked. Led Zeppelin, That's the Way. The Who, Getting in Tune. Life's What You Make It by Talk Talk. REM is in it a couple times, but the song Strange Currencies. You mentioned Lou Reed. There's Paul Simon, a song called Let Me Live in Your City. Of course, they brought back again Eddie Vedder, Save It for Later. I think it was in it again.
But actually, this time I think it was the English Beat version, not the Eddie.
I think you're right.
It was the English Beat version. Which is fitting because they used the Eddie Vedder cover last season. Right.
And there's a Bruce Hornsby song called The Show Goes On, which is also a great song. So they really, music is a very important part of the show. There's music in every episode. The whole show is almost like a kind of music video in a way, each scene anyways. But,
right. Yeah. So speaking of things that did not surprise me, so Carmy is going to visit his mom. He's in the car. Yeah. He's going to visit his mom, and he's on the phone with Claire.
Yeah.
And Claire mentions like she hasn't been to that house since, I don't know, a teenager or whatever.
Yeah.
And Claire mentions that she lost a sweater. And sure enough...
green sweatshirt. Yeah.
And sure enough, green sweatshirt or sweater. And sure enough, Carmy finds it at the house. Like, that was also predictable.
It was predictable, but like I wanted it to go further. Like you never saw Carmy give it back to her, you know, or maybe season 5.
Maybe that's going to be next season.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, we haven't talked about the last episode, really.
Before we get to the last episode, let's just talk about Sid for a sec, because we can lead into the last episode. Sid is really like a bit of more of the focal point of this season than Carmy. I feel like there was a lot more Sydney. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's the whole thing about her decision whether to go with Shapiro or not. Her whole decision about the DocuSign, signing the agreement, and then there's a great episode where she's with her. I don't know who the little girl is. Her niece, I guess.
I think it's her niece. I think.
That was a great episode. You know, like everything that they did together, and I really liked Sydney's whole arc. And then, of course, you mentioned her father, so we see how devastated she is, and just the turmoil in her life and everything like around it. Like Sydney really shined this season, and then it all leads into the final episode where, you know, she finally finds out that what the amendment to the DocuSign was. Right?
Well, I mean, she had it in her inbox for what seemed like months, and she just didn't open it or read it.
Yeah, but then Carmy changed it, and there was an update, and she tried to find out what it was, and no one would tell her. She's like, you have to read it. She tried to, like, anyways. So basically, Carmy's like, I'm out, and it's you and Richie and Sugar who own the restaurant, not me, you know?
Which completely stunned me.
It stunned me, but not as much. I wasn't that shocked because you can see, like, slowly but surely Carmy is, like, letting go of a lot of things, you know? Like, he lets go of control of the menu to Sid, and finally he says, you can put what you want, and we don't have to change the menu every single night, and all the things that they've been trying to get through to him, he finally agrees to. He's much less control. He kind of lets Richie do his thing in the front. He's a little bit checked out a little bit of the day-to-day of the restaurant, and he's letting everybody do their thing because they're good at their jobs now, right? He doesn't need to control every aspect of the restaurant. And then the reconciliation with Claire is huge. And when he has the whole conversation with his mom, he's kind of hinting at the fact that maybe he doesn't love cooking in the restaurant. Like it was an escape at one point, but he doesn't love it right now. So it wasn't that much of a shock to me that when, he reveals, we find out that he's giving up his share of the restaurant. But the scene, what do you think about that season, that episode 10? It was really intense.
Really intense. I mean, the fact there's only, I think, 4 people in the whole episode, right?
Yeah.
Which is also very cool. And it's pretty much all in the same one little back alley or something. The whole thing takes place there, unless there's something else that happened in that episode that I'm forgetting. So I was stunned by the fact that Carmy wants to give the restaurant to the rest of them, but I was also surprised at Sid's reaction.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think that in some ways she'd be excited about it because now she's going to get to run the show and make decisions, and this sort of validates her decision not to go with Shapiro. But she was pissed off.
Well, what's kind of revealed about Sydney during the season, and my take on her, is that she's really scared to fail. Like, Sydney does not have this outward confidence in herself. She still thinks of herself as the junior to Carmy, right? When you're working with Carmy and you're working with Shapiro, and then who's the tall British dude that Carmy brings in?
Right, I forget his name, but yes.
Like, these are world-class chefs, and she just can't conceive that she's on their level or close to their level. Like, she can't. In her mind, there's no way she could be as good as Carmy. So I think she's really just has a lot of self-doubt. She just doesn't believe in herself as much as Carmy believes in her, is what it comes down to. I wrote down on episode 10 that the only thing I didn't like is that we did need one more scene with Carmy and Claire. And that's what we just mentioned before. I said maybe he would give her back the sweatshirt, and maybe that's going to come in the next season. We'll see. Well, I don't know. The next season is going to be interesting because if he's really out of the restaurant, what are we going to see about Carmy? Like, is he what's
right?
What's
can they have a show without him? First of all, and second of all, what's he going to get another job? Like, what's he going to do?
Yeah.
He doesn't know how to do anything else.
Yeah. There were some great moments in the season that were great. I mentioned like when Rob Reiner meets the computer. Like, I really like that. And then when they announced that there was a Sugar came in the kitchen in episode 9, and she's like, I have a big announcement. And I thought that they were going to give that it was Sydney going to get an award for like best new chef or best chef in Chicago, especially since they mentioned that scallop dish that she made and the reviewer really loved it. And then, of course, it's not Sydney. It's Marcus, the pastry chef.
That was a surprise to me, yes.
Yeah. But, I mean, that was great. I mean, that guy works hard. He worked hard, Marcus. Like, he studied. He figured out what to do. And he became like, Carmy put all the confidence in him, and he really came through, So I really like those moments, I wasn't so invested in the whole episode with Jamie Lee Curtis and Carmy, like that one where he goes home and he makes dinner for her.
Yeah.
Like, I know, like, my wife said that she thinks Jamie Lee Curtis is amazing and those scenes are amazing. Like, I just was like, I wasn't invested in like the Carmy and his mom relationship stuff.
I mean, it might have been the first time that they were together that they weren't arguing.
That's true.
So that I liked.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they had a normal conversation and there was no yelling and there was no chaos.
Yeah. There were some great lines. Like, I mean, Neil Fack, this guy, man, I don't know. He's so funny. You know when Sugar brings the baby?
Yes.
She brings the baby. And Neil wants to see the baby so badly, but he's so scared. He's hiding and he's peeking in the door. He doesn't want to see. It's like he's nervous to see the baby, and then he finally sees the baby. And I don't know if you remember what he says. He goes, asks her, "Can I smell the baby?"
I do remember. I don't remember what she said.
Do you remember what he said it smells like?
No.
According to Neil Fack, the baby smelled like raspberries that were already chewed up.
Okay.
Like I would love to know if that line was written in the script or if Matty Matheson, the actor, just made that up. Like, I really want to know. Yeah.
There's a few good scenes with him, by the way.
There's tons, yeah.
When he has to tell Sugar that, is it Francine Fack is coming to the wedding?
Oh, yeah.
So he's like, I have something to tell you, but don't be mad at me. And she's like, I could never be mad at you. I love you. And he's like, and he's not even coming into the room. He's like hiding behind the door. And then he tells her that Francine is coming to the wedding. Sugar loses it.
She's so mad at her, but we never really found out what the beef was between them. But like we know it's pretty bad, I guess. Like Sugar does not want to let it go.
The other funny thing about Neil Fack, he's not even in this scene, but the new guy comes to work at the restaurant. I think it's that British guy, and he asks Marcus, "What does he do here?" And Marcus is like, "Nobody knows."
Nobody knows. But he really tries hard, eh? Neil and the rest of the front of the house crew, like obviously they bring in new front of the house crew, like that came with Jessica. So she brought her very professional people, but there was still like the facts that were also part of it. There's the really good scene where they make the snow outside of the restaurant and the hot chocolate for the guests.
For making snow.
Yeah, so it was that scene with the hot chocolate and the snow and the family was really, really great. And then Richie was really great in that because he apologizes to the guest who was sitting next to him, which we kind of think and realize maybe he was the reviewer.
I think he was, yes.
He's like, would you also like one of these Chicago beefs fixed up? And he's like, of course. I thought you'd never ask, like. So that whole scene with the showing how the front of the house staff kind of grew into their own and really became
a well-oiled machine.
Great at their, they really became great at their jobs. Like I really like the show. I really, really like season 4. I just found it much more. Like I said at the beginning, it's much more heartwarming. The characters are evolving. There's less chaos. There's more harmony. There's more like introspection. The characters are thinking about their futures. It's just less yelling. Like some of the seasons of the show, it's just yelling in the kitchen. And here, there's no more yelling. They have the timer. They're stressed. We're stressed about the stupid timer. But,
we
right?
There's still another cliffhanger now because the clock went down to 0 and we don't know what's going to happen with the restaurant.
Right. We don't know. So, I mean, they made it seem like the restaurant could continue to exist even without the
funding,
the backing of the uncle, but they don't know for how long. Like how long in the money till the money kind of runs out, right?
Right.
But maybe Ibra's expansion of the beef stands is gonna like bring in the cash, right?
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, overall, I really love the season. I would recommend it. I mean, obviously, if you're invested in the Bear and you've watched the other seasons, you can't stop now. So you're going to watch season 4 and we're going to watch season 5. I guess there's going to be a season 5, right?
I think there is. I like the season overall as well. And I even said to you before season 4, I like the Bear. I don't love the Bear. It's not like my favorite show.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
But season 4 was sort of a bit of a redemption, if you ask me.
Yeah. I agree with that. I liked it. I really liked it. Like I thought it was a great season and obviously recommend it for sure.
Okay, we'll be right back after this with some final thoughts.
You're listening to Unscripted.
Hey everyone, Skip here. I'm really excited to invite all of you to follow my new account at Skip Cooks on Instagram and TikTok. I'll be sharing my love of cooking with recipes in the form of 1-minute music videos, all set to some of my favorite songs. Don't miss out, follow me, and let's have some fun in the kitchen.
Unscripted with Skip and Josh is available wherever you listen to podcasts. If you listen to the show through Apple Podcasts, please leave a review. To interact with the show, send an email to skipandjoshshow@gmail.com. Follow the show on Twitter and go to Facebook to like the show page. And now, some final thoughts from the guys.
So I don't know if it was our last episode or how many episodes ago, but we did our favorite Blue Jays of all time. And
Yeah, I think that was the last one.
And I mentioned Alejandro Kirk. Now, while you were away, Alejandro Kirk, he's been still playing really well since the All-Star break. He did get injured for a bit, but he's been playing really well. He had an amazing game where he hit a home run, and he also drove in the go-ahead run later in the game. Alejandro Kirk stole the first base of his career.
I mean, the fact that the guy got a stolen base is a miracle. Like,
it is a miracle. Of course, there was someone else on base, so it was like first and third, and he stole second, and they didn't
that's
throw.
cheap.
But still, he stole the base. So congratulations to Alejandro Kirk.
You think it'll be the last one, or he'll get another one in his career?
I think he'll probably get another one at some point. It only took him 532 games to get this one.
Right.
So
I mean, it's going to be interesting in Toronto for you because the Jays are going to be in the playoffs. Like, I think it's safe to say. The Yankees and Red Sox are kind of trying to challenge back for the division, but it's kind of weak. Like, the Jays seem to right now have a hold on the division. I can't see it seems impossible that they won't make the playoffs. So it's going to be exciting in Toronto. The fans are going to be into it. The stadium's going to be packed. Like,
the stadium is already packed. I've been to I think 6 games this year. I buy those $20 tickets and I stand next to the bullpen. But I have to tell you, the last one I went to, which was already a few weeks ago, it was hard to find a place to see the game because there's so many more people in there now, and everyone's elbowing each other for a good view. So it's already packed.
Wow. Yeah, it's exciting. I think baseball, I love the baseball postseason. I can't wait till we get to the postseason because I think it's so much fun. And there's some really interesting teams that are going to be in the postseason this year, especially in the National League. I think it's going to be great.
This is their window of opportunity because the Yankees aren't as great as they used to be. The Dodgers aren't even as great as they used to be. The Red Sox, they're not bad. They're better than everyone thought they would be. And then there's, of course, there's still the Padres and the Giants and the Mets and the Phillies. And I'm sure I'm leaving out. So never mind. I didn't even mention Milwaukee and the Cubs. But if the Jays were going to do some damage in the playoffs, this would be the year for them to do it.
I could see them coming out of the American League because I don't think who's challenging in the American League? The Tigers?
Yeah, I forgot to mention the Tigers.
I mean, the Astros are still there, but I don't know. I can't even put myself in the state of mind where the Astros are going to be in the World Series again. I think I would throw up. And then I don't want to see that. So I think it's the Jays and the Tigers, So it's interesting.
Anyway, we'll see.
One more final thought.
Go ahead.
TV recommendation, 5 years in the making. I'm 5 years late on this show. We finally watched Succession.
That seems like a long commitment.
Yeah, there's 4 seasons. There's 9 or 10 episodes in each season. I hesitated to watch it because I didn't know if I'd like it, and I didn't want to commit to a show from the beginning. But we really enjoyed it. It's a really good show. The acting in that show is on the next level. It's absolutely incredible. The performances are amazing. And I hated the ending. That's my synopsis of Succession.
Okay. So there's no more new episodes. It's over.
It's over, yeah. Okay.
I
mean, they could bring it back if they wanted to. They could. The actors are all there. The actors are all around. They could easily bring it back and pick up the story 5 years later. And it's something I could see happening, but I don't know if they want to do that or not.
So speaking of shows that aired many years ago, there's a show from 2017 that I recently started watching. It's called Louder Milk.
Oh yeah, but didn't you mention this before?
I started watching it on Netflix a few months ago. There's 3 seasons. I watched the first 4 episodes, and then I got that free Apple trial for 3 months. So then I only watched Apple stuff for 3 months.
So now you came back to Netflix.
Now I came back to Netflix, and lo and behold, I go back to Netflix to watch Louder Milk. It's gone. It's not on Netflix anymore. This is the second
That
time this has
happens.
happened to me with Netflix. The
It's
other
so
one
annoying,
was
yeah.
How I Met Your Mother. Anyway, but I found Loudermilk on CBC Gem.
Oh, beautiful.
So I was able to watch it. So only 3 seasons. Actually, I have to say, each season actually got better. Like, I actually didn't even like season 1 to the point where I said to myself, I don't like this. I'm not sure if I'm going to watch anymore at all.
Right.
Because there was one storyline in season 1 that really bothered me. Really annoying. And then
What's the name of the actor that's the main character? He's the guy from Office Space, right?
Ron Livingston.
Yeah, exactly.
He
Okay,
looks
that's
like
it,
the
yeah.
guy from Friday Night Lights, though.
Very similar look to him, yeah.
And they even, in
Kyle
one of the
Chandler.
episodes, they even say, yeah, that's our so-and-so, and he's the one that looks like the guy from Friday Night Lights. It's funny that
Right,
they mention
right,
it in
right.
the show. Anyway, I'm not going to get into the whole show, but I finished watching it. It ended in 2020. I don't think they're making any more new episodes. I liked it.
It's
I don't know.
From what I have a friend who told me that he watched it and he really liked the show. It's an interesting show because when it was actually on, like when it was released, no one watched it. And then somehow it got a life after the fact, like 5-6 years later, streaming, social media, clips get shared and it gets a new life. And I think it got a new life on Netflix at one point and people really started to watch it. I have it on my list of like, maybe I'll watch it one day type of show. All right. So I can't wait to try the new Nestea, the new and improved, or is it the same recipe? We're gonna compare. I have old cans of Nestea saved, and I have obviously tons of Fuse, so I have to do a new taste test with all 3 of them and see what we come up with. And of course, it was great talking to you about the bear.
Well, going back to Nestea for a second. So yes, I have Fuse, I have the new Nestea, and of course I saved some old Nesteas. I haven't even opened up a new one yet. I want to do a taste test, but I need someone else to administer it on me. I can't do it to myself. So I'm waiting. I'm waiting for you to come to do a road trip to Toronto.
There's a chance I'm coming in October, but we'll see.
Okay.
All right. Anyways, great talking to you, and talk to you next time.
Have a great week.